Mike Mountain, and I want to give a special shout out to Ralph Anthony Garcia of the United Ronin Networks at YouTube. Make sure y'all go to the United Ronin Networks at YouTube. Check out his channel. Check out his series, Ralph Reads. Give it a like. Subscribe to his channel. And check out what he got to offer. Some really good stuff up there. This is Mike Mountain, and this message is approved by me. Peace.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Ralph Reads, brought to you by TURN, the United Ronin Networks. My name is Ralph Anthony Garcia, also known as R4, the legal, the loyal, the regal, the royal Ronin Ralph, your master of ceremonies. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tune in to TURN, the United Ronin Networks. We are Ronin. On today's edition of Ralph Reads, we traipse through the imagination of the author Jan Levin's debut novel, Angelites. Body of persons empowered. Whether you're about to sip on an eighth of licks, puff part of an eighth of bud, or do nothing at all to get your kicks, just mix a little bit of love. Let the reading commence. Part 5, Chapter 63. Quietness plagued the financial district. No action happening at the Federal Reserve Bank. Natalie paced along the rooftop across the street, eagerly waiting to throw a monkey wrench into John Hart's diabolical plan. Swooshing onto the scene was a heartbroken Gina. Fast stepping towards the building ledge, she bitterly said,
"Sorry for wasting your time. Guess they weren't interested, huh?"
Natalie asked. Gina sighed.
"I've been through the worst of times with that man. He taught me everything I know about surviving in the field. Never once had he ever accused me of lying until now." What are we talking about?" "My mentor." "Were those his exact words?" "Practically."
The ladies sat down on the roof ledge, letting their legs dangle over like kids swinging in the playground. Gina started thinking that maybe her approach was wrong. She should have just asked for help and let Saxon see for himself what a low-life creature John Hart truly is. Perhaps if someone barged into her life after so many years and said that Alex had gone rogue, she wouldn't believe them either. Natalie sympathized with her fellow Angelite, as she knows what it feels like to have people you trust stab you in the back. Aside from her former colleagues joining Hart's regime, Natalie felt betrayed by her family over a choice she made on the field 5 years ago. A relative turned out to be a figurehead of a major drug cartel in Queens. To their shock and disappointment, Natalie and Martha busted him one night during a raid. He was a beloved member of their family. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even her own mother asked her not to testify, asking to use whatever reason necessary to set him free. tamper with evidence, mistaken identity, etc., etc. Both ladies knew that arrest would tear their family apart. As Martha thought of complying to keep the peace, Natalie dug her heels to the ground and testified. Now, he's serving a life sentence and the family turned their backs on her. Truth be told, this was the main reason Martha joined Internal Affairs. Guilt weighed too much on her to bear.
Hey, I know what it feels like to not have many people you can count on,
said Natalie.
Martha and I used to have each other's back for everything. Asked nothing from nobody. Many people turned their backs on us because of the choices we made. Helping strangers seemed more important than satisfying my loved ones. People who I thought loved me unconditionally. Biggest disappointments usually come from the ones closest to you. Sucks. Now that Martha's gone, I have nobody left to count on. That is until I met you.
Gina looked up and nodded, acknowledging her sentiment.
Your mentor might have turned his back on you, but at least he never said, "You're dead to me." Maybe he's just scared, stressed out. Give him some time. Hart duped a lot of people into thinking he's someone special. And if your friend is as good as you believe he is, he'll eventually learn the truth. Maybe this way is best. It'll be hard for us to fight and keep him safe at the same time, though. He's not like us after all. You're right.
Gina sprung her head and realized,
I got enough to worry about with Alex. Saxon is one of the best officers I ever seen, but his mind's not ready to handle Satan's minions.
She gave the private eye a thankful smirk. Natalie answered with a nod, her way of saying, "You're welcome."
So you decided to become a private eye after Martha joined Internal Affairs? Yes and no. Private investigating was always the end game, but it was supposed to be the two of us. However, unreal events unfolded around me after the City Hall fiasco. Fellow officers had vanished without a trace, city officials going after cops. Even the precinct bombing in Queens, for Pete's sake. That was my wake-up call. I was scared to think that the worst was yet to come. Imagine fear for your life out in these streets and inside the precinct. It wasn't worth it for me. I followed the City Hall rally when it happened. The paper said that a war was brewing between Goldberg and the police department. A war he could have prevented. I never heard that experience from a cop's perspective. Mind telling me about it? My department wasn't always the cleanest, but at least we patrolled the streets with a sense of morality and dignity. After the protests got flushed down the toilet, dedicated officers I knew for years had turned into gangsters pretty much. Thanks to Goldberg's budgeting plan, department funding was cut in half, which meant less overtime pay, raises, and pensions. Days later, I heard through the grapevine that policemen wanted to ally with other precincts. They eventually tried to recruit me. I was one of the best, they said. Also, they mentioned it would be beneficial to secure your future rather than gamble with it so recklessly. That to me sounded like a threat, so I didn't want any part of it. That stuff may work in the movies, but no one survives when taking the law into their own hands. I bounced the next day, and months down the line, my private eye business was open. I still wish I could have done something to stop that regime from forming instead of just quitting, but I was afraid it would have been me against the world. Who knew that 5 years later, my worst fear would come to pass? Don't carry that weight on your back,
said Gina.
You did the right thing. Even if you attempted to stop them back then, the regime would have happened regardless. At least now you're fully equipped to fight them. Also, you got me fighting alongside you. Them lame ducks are as good as gone. Can't argue with the truth,
Natalie smirked.
Where were you during the rally? On a desert island? You can say that. I was in prison. You?
The private eye doubted.
Get the fuck out of here. It's true. I was sentenced to a prison psych ward for 5 years. I wound up getting out in 18 months for good behavior. What could you have possibly have done to get yourself arrested? Aggravated assault against my ex-husband and his mistress. Whoa. I'm shocked. You don't seem like... Hey, where have I heard that story before? 5 years ago, perhaps? I was the wrongfully accused officer. The rally was about getting justice for me.
Natalie was baffled.
Are you kidding me? Goldberg accessed every media outlet in the city to vilify you. I know. I thought I deserved it back then. My family, however, didn't share my beliefs. They went through every legal channel possible to have my sentence altered. The judge accepted my plea of insanity, and thus I avoided general population. What did you do when you got out? I ran. Ran down the deepest rabbit hole I could find. Maybe I was being too hard on myself, but we all lose it, Gina. Men and women alike. The difference is men tend to blame outward. It's everyone else's fault except theirs. Us women choose to blame inward because we are naturally gifted problem solvers. What makes you say that? Because God wouldn't have made us mothers.
Natalie giggled.
Got a point.
Gina giggled as well.
I could see why you left, but you did your time. God forgives everyone, no matter how shameful they are, right? Now it's time to forgive yourself.
The conversation ended abruptly when shadowy figures ran toward the entrance to the bank. A security guard with flickering red eyes opened the doors and waved them inside.
You saw his eyes?
Gina noticed.
Every guard in this building might be a crucifix soldier, and with an army of crazed cops stirred in the mix, we're in for a taste of foobar sorbet. I've been craving that all day,
said Natalie while cracking her knuckles.
Shall we? Not yet. One piece of this puzzle is still missing.
The Angelites raced across the rooftops, circling to get a view of the unloading facility in the back of the building. Shortly after, an armored truck drove up to the security gates. The gate guard walked up to the truck holding an M16.
Let me see some ID,
he demanded. The driver showed his ID and magically the gates opened. Strangely, the guard never walked back to his post. Gina zoomed her vision closer and noticed trails of smoke curling up the guard's nostrils. Wickedly smiling behind the wheel was the lunatic bomb expert Rusty Pipes.
In there!
Gina pointed.
What's in that truck? We'll take them out first. Just pray that the normal bank guards can hold it down on their own in the meantime.
Chapter 64. Strolling toward the unloading facility, John Hart and Rocky Diamonds passed the comatose who was as stiff as a statue, holding his rifle like an action figure. John jokingly slipped a dollar bill in his shirt pocket before entering the gates. Seconds later, his army of killer cops charged onto the property, yelling with rage like a football team entering the field of play. Zeke parted through the crowd and ran over to John.
Girl Scout hasn't shown up yet,
he informed. John tossed him a set of keys while scanning the area. This might be easier than I thought, said John. You know your assignment. Hop to it. Zeke complied and headed for the main entrance.
What about the vault?
Rocky asked John. You need to get up there and take out the stragglers. Rusty will follow you shortly, and if you see Vasquez anywhere, lead her directly to me. Got it? With the wink of an eye, Rocky confirmed and then swished inside the bank, racing through the corridors until she reached the records department on the second floor. Except for a spotlight shining over the front doors, the entire hallway was pitch black. As she was about to storm inside, a parade of clicks sounded behind her head. Red beams pointed at her leather-coated body. Then, a group of armed security guards emerged from the dark holding automatic rifles. Rocky spun on her heels and put her hands in the air.
Relax, guys,
she said.
I'm a cop. Throw your weapons on the ground and put your hands behind your head,
the lead guard demanded.
I have no weapon, fellas. Seriously, I'm working undercover. I'm on the job.
I said, put your hands up, or we'll sue!
Take it easy, fellas.
She smiled while locking her fingers behind her head.
Do you want me to get down on my knees?
As soon as she dropped, Rusty Pipes appeared behind her. He then eliminated the entire security force with armor-piercing bullets loaded in his M80 machine gun. Gazing at the cluster of bloody bodies, Rusty snickered. You should have seen the view from back here, love.
Me or the guards?
Rocky flirted. Doors to the record department flew apart with just one kick. Rocky and Rusty marched through the cluttered office space and noticed financial reports and trading statistics thumbtacked to the back wall. Something phony, though. Who else besides Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could thumbtack financial reports so close to the ceiling? One punch from Rocky's powerful fist reduced the wall to a pile of rubble. Behind it stood a giant bank vault, replicating the one in Crispin's mansion. A top-of-the-line model with a sophisticated security system. But none of that mattered, as Rusty dug his fingers into the steel as if it were clay. "Ha ha! I love these powers, baby!" he happily shouted after ripping the vault door off its hinges. Rocky's green eyes rolled around the cash-filled compartment boxes, licking her lips with excitement. She swooshed through the vault like a tornado and came out cradling stacks of crisp mint bills.
God damn!
She cursed.
I forgot to grab the damn duffel bags!
"No bother, love," Rusty said. "I'll just swoosh downstairs and grab them before your tender little fingers can let that money hit the ground." Rocky dropped a pile of bills on top of a table and eyed the vault to round up the rest.
Drop the money, Raquel!
Who said that? Was it another guard? No. Only her team knew her as Raquel. A traitor? Bewilderedly, she turned around. It was her teammate, Zeke Tricolo, with his gun pointed to the side of her head.
What the hell are you doing, Zeke?
Rocky scolded.
Have you lost your damn mind?
I said, drop the money, Raquel.
Rocky smiled devilishly, knowing no bullets can harm her.
Wanna keep the loot for yourself? Is that it, Zeke? Honey, you know damn well you'll never get out of here alive trying to pull a jack move on me.
During the standoff, Rusty quietly crawled behind the desks like a sewer rat. Focused intently on forcing Rocky to surrender, Zeke had no clue of the upcoming ambush.
Come on, Zeke, baby,
Rocky teased.
Won't you put that gun down? Then you and I can step inside this vault and discuss some in and outs on a new working relationship. Hear me out, baby. So much money. I'll do anything to have it.
Yeah, I bet you would,
scoffed Zeke.
Zeke, I know how to treat a hard-working man who's so headstrong like you. With this money, you can rule the city, and I can play the other woman. Kinda like an office romance. Naomi will never have to know. Is your head the only thing strong on your body?
Growing impatient, Zeke drilled his firearm right between her eyes.
Shut the f up! I'm done with you and your goddamn slutty ways. Now, you either put that money back inside that vault, or the only ins and outs we'll be discussing is me putting a bullet in your brain and watching it fly out the other side. You got the count of...
On blind instinct, Zeke turned around like he had eyes in the back of his head and shot Rusty during a mid-air attack. The crazed cop didn't flinch. Rusty grabbed a handful of Zeke's shirt and flung him across the room like a rag doll. While blood leaked from the wound, leaving red trails down his arm, Rusty flexed his biceps like a bodybuilder and out popped a mangled bullet. His wound instantly sealed itself up. He then grabbed Zeke by his ankles and swung him against the wall. As Zeke tumbled to the floor, Rusty kicked him in the ribs like a striker in a soccer game. Zeke barreled through several tables like a bowling ball. He rolled around in pain. Blood spat from his mouth. "That was just a small glimpse of me powers, mate," Rusty threatened. "I ought to kill you, Zeke. Every bone in me body is telling me to kill you. But I'm considering a long-term friendship, which is why you're still breathing. For the moment." Rusty crouched down next to his bloody and beaten ex-friend. "You got balls, Zeke, I'll give you that. But you've made a grave mistake betraying us, mate. Punishment will be the least of your worries compared to what John's going to do to you once he hears about this. Maybe I should spare you out of misery and just rip your throat out now, eh?"
Go for it.
Zeke mumbled.
Only way you're walking out of here is over my dead body.
Rusty wiped the sides of his mouth while guffawing in enjoyment.
Have it your way. You got 3 seconds to say your prayers or beg for mercy, however you choose. 1, 2, 3.
Both Rusty and Rocky got catapulted to the ceiling by an unexpected burst of light that flashed across the room. Groggily getting to their feet, Rusty's jaw hung low at the sight of the Angelites standing across from him.
No!
He screamed on the verge of crying.
What are you doing here?
Here to crash the party, genius.
Natalie sarcastically replied. Seething with anger, Rusty swooshed over to his machine gun and sprayed countless rounds at the angelic warriors. Wooden furniture got turned to splinters, more holes left in the walls than a pack of moles in the dirt. However, Gina and Natalie peeked at each other as bullets bounced off their bodies like ping-pong balls. Discovering that shooting them was a waste of ammunition, Rusty tossed his weapon away and put up his fists, willing to fight either lady one-on-one.
It's over, Rudy,
Gina warned.
Surrender now, and you won't get hurt.
An arrogant smile curled across his psychotic face.
I ain't scared of you, lousy hookers,
said Rusty.
So you got stronger? So what? Big deal. Big girls can't fight. We know that. Especially when you're looking at a real man. Bet you've been waiting to get your hands on a real man, haven't you? Tell you what. Bring your pretty little selves a little bit closer to me, and I'll show you a real man.
Are you trying to make us mad?
Asked Natalie.
I am not trying anything, baby. I'm trying to make things easy for you. If you want to fight, fine.
Rocky came strutting next to her partner while slapping the dust off her leather clothing.
I see.
Gina sighed.
Conjured up some black magic, have we? Got a little stronger since your last outing? Good. Now, knowing you can take punishment, we no longer have to hold back.
I don't need magic, baby. No spells, no demons. No damn puppet masters. Only powers I need are these right here.
Rusty raised his fists and banged them together repeatedly.
Then take your best shot.
Screaming at the top of his lungs, Rusty pulled out a hunting knife and furiously swiped it at the Angelite. He sliced nothing but air as Gina swiftly dodged his attacks. She then threw one punch between Rusty's eyes and his knees buckled from the pain. Suddenly, Rocky attacked from behind like a battering ram and knocked the Angelites down. She then cowardly fled from the office.
Oh, hell no!
Natalie barked as she and Gina rushed to their feet. Looking at Rusty's pathetic stance, hazy and wobbled, but still pretending to be strong, Natalie asked,
You got this?
Gina smirked and nodded.
Good, because that pleather-wearing green-eyed is mine.
Chapter 65. Rusty rolled his arms and bounced around like a cocky prizefighter. He used his thumb to wipe the corner of his lips as his tongue slithered over his teeth. Racing around the room with empathetic speed, Rusty launched a flurry of combos into Gina's face, running and heading from all directions. But his offense came to a grinding halt as massive pain throbbed from his knuckles. He squealed like a pig. Breathing heavy and sweating profusely, Rusty stared at the Angelite in awe while caressing his swollen red knuckles. Sore arms, faded confidence. What does he have to do to make this woman bleed? Was she that strong? Or did John lie about his power? Gina found his attacks laughable. His punches hurt her as much as a flea bite. She leaned sideways and sarcastically asked him,
What are you staring at? Are you gonna propose?
Feeling humiliated, Rusty tensed up with anger and rushed toward her again. This time he added spin kicks to his repertoire of combat moves. Gina finally decided to strike back and sprung her knee into his midsection. And just like that, the fighting stopped. The pain was so intense that Rusty couldn't move. An elongated grunt seeped out from his windpipe, while his arms stayed stretched out like a photo of a major league pitcher. Gina launched a thrust kick that sent Rusty spiraling across the office, smashing through several wooden tables along the way. He crashed into a supply closet, landing on his head.
I knew that spell had made you stronger, Rudy.
Gina said.
But we both know you're no match for me. Surrender now, and I'll let you live. Last time I'm going to tell you.
Tripping over broken furniture, Rusty pulled out a firearm from his rear holster. He only fired one shot before Gina swooshed over and easily snatched the gun away. Breaking his weapon in half like a breadstick, she warned,
This is the last time, Rudy.
Backpedaling like a drunk mambo dancer, Rusty nervously patted around the numerous pockets in his uniform, looking for more weapons to use. All he had left was a hand grenade and a plastic explosive the size of a hockey puck. Die! He yelled while pulling the pin out from the grenade. Gina caught his wrist and snapped it in half. As Rusty cried in misery, Gina grabbed the grenade and crushed it like a plastic cup, exploding under her fingers like flash powder from an antique camera.
The last time!
She warned once more. Quivering in his knees, pulsing with absolute fear, Rusty raised his good arm in surrender. You win, he admitted. This ain't worth me losing my life over, sweets. I didn't want this life, but I was lost. A man without a home. Thank God for you, Vasquez. Now I'm found. I'll come quietly, but promise you'll protect me from that dumb psychopath! Hot! He'll kill me for setting the moat. They will punish me for all eternity.
No matter who comes for you, Rudy, I'll protect you. Don't worry. You're making the right choice.
Gina offered her hand. Rusty accepted it with a firm slap. As Gina helped him up to his feet, Rusty replied, "Thank you for making my choice so easy." Suddenly, he slapped a plastic explosive on the side of her face and swished out of the office. One push of the trigger on his remote detonator. Doors blew off the hinges. Windows shattered to pieces. Great balls of fire violently burst through the ceiling. Broken glass rained onto the streets as clusters of fire lit up the sides of the building, further darkening the night sky with black smoke. Gina never left the room. Radiating with sadistic joy, Rusty danced around the burning hallway, fluttering his arms and leaping like a clumsy ballerina. "Oh, I did it!" he howled. "Oh, I killed the Angelites! Oh, I killed the Angelites!" "How about that, John? You poor excuse of a leader! You were so terrified of that red-haired Shayla. But I conquered an Angelite! Not you! Me! I am going to be the one who runs this city. I... Chattering teeth, soiled pants, drowning in sweat. Rusty lost control of everything, including his composure, at the sight of the Angelite standing in front of him. Her eye fumed with anger, face as clean as a whistle, flowing hair, clothes intact, displaying the mangled explosive in her right hand. Gina ripped it apart like cardboard. With a wide-open frown, Rusty dropped to his knees and pleaded for forgiveness. Gina's rage then turned to pity. Seeing him beg in such a pathetic fashion, she realized he couldn't be saved. Demons had a vice grip on his mind, body, and soul. Offering protection wasn't good enough. He passed the point of no return. His demon had to perish. Gina slowly shook her head, watching Rusty sobbing like a baby. With a heavy heart and glossy eyes, she glanced at the fire and said,
"Bye, Rudy."
Gina swung a lightning roundhouse kick that Rusty never saw coming, decapitating him on impact. Time slowed down at that moment as Gina watched Rusty's head rotate toward the fire. His face was still frozen in grief. From out of his eye socket spewed a hideous demon, shrieking like a monkey as the flames gobbled it up. Turning in remorse, Gina wasn't sure how much of this she could stomach. Heinous flashbacks revisited in her mind of watching Sylvan being torn apart by the hellfire.
"I can't do this,"
she sobbed. Endless fighting suddenly seemed unappealing. Why play judge and jury when her misdeeds have yet to be accounted for? Leave this life, go back to New Mexico and hide. But then a murmur of words broke through the darkness, traveling from her ears and into her heart. "I run with purpose in every step." Pastor Good preached that when man chooses Satan, they become slaves in hell forever. John Hart and his possessive officers are no longer people. Deception can control the flesh, but the spirit sees through its ugly walls.
"This is my purpose,"
she proclaimed. Rusty Pipes was the first to fall. More crucifix soldiers are still out there. They all must fall. Chapter 66. Racing through the Federal Reserve Bank at 100 miles per hour, Rocky made several turns around sharp corners, backtracked every step she made, but still couldn't shake the furious Angelite off her trail. Whereas overconfident before, now the stress was getting to her, putting doubt on the extent of her new powers. She then had an idea to test how truly powerful the Angelite was. Rocky switched down to the basement, location of the largest gold vault in the entire state of New York, guarded by a 90-ton steel cylinder that was impossible to crack open. Natalie followed shortly, but then stopped in front of the gargantuan steel blockade. No sign of Rocky. Where did she go? Natalie caressed the steel for breaks or signs of tampering, but it was fully restored. Rocky must have gone through it like vapor. Unsure about her limitations, Natalie declared,
I'm getting in there.
She pressed her fingers against the center of the steel door, wondering how much it can withstand.
This is either gonna feel tremendously good or hurt like heck.
She paused and looked up. Sorry, still getting used to it. Planting her feet firmly on the ground, taking quick whiffs of air, Natalie let the anger inside burn as she tightened her fist. 1, 2, 3. She punched the steel as hard as she could. Red sirens spun overhead. Chunks of steel flew everywhere. Natalie fanned away the dust cloud and stared at the gaping hole she made within the cylinder wall, large enough for her to walk through. She stepped inside the vault and was instantly captured by the thousands of glistening gold bars surrounding her. Her heart pounded rapidly. They were contained in hundreds of blue compartments, each secured by a padlock and 2 combination locks. Thoughts of being an overnight millionaire plagued her mind. Temptation sang in her ears. Those bars are weak. No security. This gold is yours. Yours, yours, yours. Ha 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 ha. Who in the world could stop you? But before sinful intentions got the better of her, Natalie shook her head and said,
Nice try. Natty! Natty!
She heard Rocky's echoing voice taunt from within the shadows. Where could she be hiding? Impossible for her to be inside the containers. Her eyes rolled up to the steel platforms. Suddenly, heat rose in her chest like an oven. Move! She heard her inner voice say. In a fraction of a second, she dove out of the way, just missing the heel of Rocky's boot, impaling her skull. Instead, it drilled a hole through the waxed floor.
I should have killed you when I had the chance,
Rocky threatened. She pushed back her hair and caressed her fingers across her eyebrows.
I won't make that same mistake.
Rocky fired multiple spin kicks, swiping her stilettos at the Angelite's face. Natalie easily caught her leg and threw her to the other end of the vault. Surprisingly, however, Rocky flew through the wall like a ghost. No scuffs or cracks were left behind. Bad vibes tickled Natalie's shoulder, sensing another attack was coming. Then from behind, Rocky struck the back of her head with her knee. As Natalie felt the sting from that blow, Rocky again emerged from the floor and launched an uppercut to her face.
What's the matter, sweetie?
She taunted.
Why so quiet all of a sudden?
Pounding the floor in frustration, Natalie rushed to her feet with fists tight enough to crush rocks into pebbles. Wait. Slow down. She remembered what Gina said. Crawl and walk at the same time. Harnessing her energy was the key.
You're no match for me,
said Natalie, flipping her long black hair behind her ears.
You are just a warm-up.
Both ladies traded fists like a game of patty cake at turbo speed. Each one of Natalie's punches struck Rocky's face at every angle. Rocky, on the other hand, failed to make a scratch. Natalie clutched her opponent's throat like a bike handle and slammed her to the ground. But yet again, Rocky fell through it. Seconds later, she dropped from the ceiling and wrapped her leather legs around the Angelite's throat. Natalie grabbed Rocky's ankles and spun her around like a discus thrower, intensifying the speed with every turn. She then tossed her across the vault so fast that there was no time to teleport. Rocky crashed into a steel compartment too hurt to avoid the several money boxes that avalanched on top of her. Although exhibiting an invincible offense, Natalie wasn't finished yet. Determination grew while watching Rocky slowly dig herself out. Then a strange transformation occurred. Her body temperature rose to scald degrees. Smoke practically puffed from her nose instead of air. Her hands engulfed in flames. Humidity surrounded her like a peanut in a shell.
My God, is this happening?
She panted, worried and excited at the same time. Climbing out from the gold avalanche, Rocky groggily stood up with a swollen and bruised face, bloody mouth, and smudged mascara. Her leather suit turned to dusty rags with more rips than an 80s t-shirt. Grinding her teeth and hissing like a snake, Rocky stretched her arms to channel more satanic energy. Natalie then opened her hand. A small flame rose from the middle of her palm. She focused on strengthening it, and amazingly, the flame grew almost a foot high. She then curled up her fingers, and it morphed into a flaming globe. Before Rocky could gather more energy, Natalie launched the flame into the vixen cop's chest, leaving a fiery streak that sliced through the dark corridor. Leather clothing exploded in 5 directions as Rocky got burnt to a crisp. Flapping around in midair was her demon, which evaporated into smoke shortly thereafter. As the flames extinguished, returning to her normal state, Natalie walked over to the anthill of ashes and snickered,
What's wrong, girl? Why so quiet all of a sudden?
Chapter 67. Bloodshed ensued during a massive gun battle at the loading lot. Bank guards fought valiantly while standing over their buddies shredded and covered in shell casings and blood. Numbers were greatly against them. Besides having unlimited firepower, John cast a mystical shield over the armor of his officers, making them indestructible. Sinking their teeth into the meat of victory, the invading cops enjoyed the sight of bodies hitting the floor in a bloody and gory mess. Like a matador entering the arena before the bullfight, Gina finally arrived. Surviving guards hobbled behind a bunker.
Kill her!
here!"
one cop yelled. Gunfire repointed in her direction. Rattling metal and echoing bangs rocked the entire lot as a parade of bullets exploded against her body. Blinded by the gun smoke, the cops were unable to see if her body dropped. Once the smoke cleared, however, Gina stood tall, slapping the residue off her jacket, unimpressed. Cops were too flabbergasted to fathom a rational thought. They blinked a couple of times.
Now what?
Another cop asked. None had an answer.
My turn.
Gina replied. Gina proceeded to manhandle the flock like a lawnmower, cutting through grass. Thrown through windshields and smashed against walls, evil cops crumbled to dust on impact, followed by a herd of demons wailing in misery before fizzling out of existence. Lurking behind the armored trucks, a timid John Hart discovered that Gina was more powerful than he imagined. Although confident in his new abilities, he knew it would take more than spells to defeat her. He needed backup. But who? Desperately seeking for an advantage, he come across a dead guard curled in the corner. What a marvelous idea, he thought while gazing into his rolled back eyes. John traced a pentagram on the corpse's forehead with his finger. He waited for about a minute. Then, a slow breath hissed from his throat. Fingers jittered. Eyeballs turned white as bedsheets. It worked. The guard became a mindless zombie under his control. He then crawled over to the dead guards and repeated the same ritual. Jumping and jittering, the others began to rise as well. John rose to his feet and salivated at the birth of his new hellish army, more than enough to give the Angelite a world of hurt. Standing alone in the lot, surrounded by a sea of crumpled remains, Gina sensed negative energy looming nearby.
You can come out now, Johnny.
She taunted.
Unless you're afraid of getting hurt.
John waltzed out to the spotlight and graciously applauded like the end of a Broadway performance.
"Gina Vasquez,"
he greeted.
"Nice to finally talk to you on a professional level. Last time we met, you weren't exactly hospitable to me. Remember that day when I came to see you in the loony bin? It was me and, what's his name? Ah, yes," John snapped his fingers and shook his head. "Sylvan. That's him."
Are you trying to make me mad?
She gritted. "Oh, no. I'm just not good with names, that's all. Then again, I'm not good with faces either," he laughed. "Except when it comes to people I have to kill, of course."
Everything's a joke to you, isn't it? All your brainwashing speeches about justice got so many good cops killed. Friends of mine, including Sylvan.
Thank you for sharing your feelings with me. It's a joy to know that I've touched your life somehow. And you've affected mine as well. I admit it was wrong for me to dump such an elaborate scheme on your lap only days after your conviction. But for some odd reason, I thought you shared the same enthusiasm. I was wrong. Therefore, I want to apologize for my inappropriate behavior.
Are you kidding?
In all sincerity, I'm not. He walked a bit closer. When I first laid my eyes on you, I thought, she's the one for me. I was nowhere in your league at the time, but I knew we were both destined for greatness. Look at us now. leaders of the most powerful factions on the planet, maybe even the galaxy. Gina snarled. Together, we will be unstoppable. We have the skill, the passion, and the respect of our fellow officers. This empire is expanding, and I want to share it with you. Gina looked around at the chaotic damage.
You call this an empire?
She snickered. John shrugged. Every army needs foot soldiers. These are, well, my real officers aren't as pathetic as these. They are the ones who will fulfill any task I send them on, and that's just in this city. We got thousands more around the country waiting on pins and needles to become crucifix soldiers. We're not just talking cops either. Politicians, commissioners, freelance activists, doctors, you name it. You can't buy this kind of power.
That's the truth. Otherwise, a lame duck like you wouldn't have so much stroke. Was the price of your soul worth all this violence? Are you promised riches in the afterlife? Have you even thought about an afterlife?
He scoffed. You don't know how incredible you are. City Hall has made several comical attempts over the years to stop my unit. You, however, managed to destroy them within 1 hour. I need you, Gina. By morning, I will own this whole city. But together, we can rule the world. With your great power and my undeniable wisdom, not even the crucifix would stand a chance against us. I offer you a chance for greatness. Take it. Join me. Gina thought she was watching a really bad B-rated drama. Sarcastically, she replied,
And the winner for Best Actor goes to...
You must really want to kick the crap out of me, don't you? She nodded yes. Do we have to take it this far? Must we fight each other to get our way?
I don't take pleasure in handing out ass whoopings, but in your case, I will make an exception.
Why are you so mad? You're the reason why my rebellion has grown over the years. Cops across the country witness your mistreatment from these government jackasses, greedy pigs that merely wanted to demonstrate their power on your behalf. No matter how hard we cops worked or how much support we gained from our communities, those clueless officials wanted to show us all that they run this city. It opened my eyes. Only the rich can rule this land. Now it's time to enforce the new law under the crucifix, and those greasy pigs will suffer for the rest of their lives, just as they made us suffer, as they made me suffer.
So that's it. This is about you. Your weakness got exposed because Goldberg treated your rally like a joke. The crucifix sensed your desperate need for revenge, and they made you a bunch of promises to con you into giving up your soul. In your twisted mind, you see this as an uprising. You truly are lost, John.
You are the one who is lost, Vasquez! Living in that desert for so long, you forgot how the real world works! If someone hits you hard, then you must get up and hit them harder! That sniveling coward of a mayor came to my rally and was laughing at me. Can you believe that, Gina? He was laughing at me! Well, who's laughing now? He added to your suffering even after you surrendered. Why would you put your life on the line for a greedy fucking pig like him? We're bigger than him. Bigger than all of them. Like they said in the 70s, when the revolution comes, the revolution will be televised. Guess what? The revolution is here. Hateful intentions behind the detective's actions had an undermining sense of morality, Gina realized. However, she would never resort to evil to prove a point, not even against Mayor Goldberg, who deserved payback for his wrongdoings. John continued ranting like a priest in a prison cell, and she grew more impatient by the sentence. With my network gaining nationwide steam, it was easy to concoct a dish that Goldberg would be too predictable and too stupid to swallow. Like the old saying goes, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. It took me years to gain the trust of City Hall, taking organized crime apart piece by piece. Now Goldberg's death will be my ultimate rise to power. And I will truly be a god.
You're repulsive. Talking about uplifting the people when you don't care about your officers dying for you. This was never about a revolution. It's about revenge, isn't it? Selfish coward.
Sacrifices have to be made for the greater good. Their deaths will not be in vain.
Listen to you talk like you're some kind of dictator. Teaching your crew some parlor tricks with a few satanic words doesn't make you a leader. At the end of the day, you're not as smart as you pretend to be. Without the puppeteer pulling your strings, you're still that poor excuse of a cop who couldn't organize a free cheese line at the welfare office.
John punched his fist into his palm and tightened his jaw. You know, you're really starting to piss me off. I'm offering you the chance of a lifetime in the New World Order, only second to my own. This is a chance for us to finish what we've started. Every officer will follow us to the ends of the earth. Anyone who opposes us will burn for eternity.
How dare you praise my crime like it's a national holiday? From the moment I wake up to the moment I fall asleep, I wish to God that night never happened. There are many ways to fight injustice, and this is not it. This is not it! You are a disgrace to the badge, and my only involvement in your revolution is being the one who burns it to the motherfucking ground!
Fool. Mark my words. This will be the biggest regret of your life. What's left of it. Dragging growls come from beneath the darkness. Gina sensed other bodies were in the room, but couldn't read their life force. How is that possible? Suddenly, an undead guard rushed into the light with red veins bulging from his skin. He swung his hand wildly and chomped at the air. Gina retaliated by splitting his skull in half with one punch. Ash sprinkled over his fallen body. Brains curled on the floor like chewed up bubblegum. John swung his arms like a game show host, and 3 more undead guards charged out, stronger and more infuriated than the first. It made no difference as Gina easily trashed them as well. Then more zombies attacked. Too many to eradicate at once. She's now using 2 hits to put them down this time. Then 3, now 4, 5. Ultimately, she was surrounded. As each zombie grew stronger, her energy rapidly wasted. John was tickled pink seeing his undead army savagely attack with cannibalistic behavior. They pulled on her limbs and reddish hair while gnawing at her clothes, digging their jagged teeth into her flesh. Corroded nails dug into her face, neck, and hands. Overwhelmed by soulless corpses wanting to taste her blood, Gina cried in horror, helpless and afraid, just like in her nightmare. But even under those circumstances, she found the power to fight back. It came from within. Stop. Focus. Remember Pastor Good's teachings. John's magic tricks were just that, a trick. Concentrate. You've destroyed demons. Zombies are no different. Fight! One last scrape caused her to erupt in anger. She screamed from the top of her lungs. The entire building got rocked off its foundation. John dove for cover. Radiant energy rippled throughout the entire lot. Armored vehicles and steel crates flew to the roof. Zombie flailed everywhere, vaporized from the aftershocks. Reinforced walls got dented. Security gates twisted up like copper wires. Crumpled bills buzzed in the air like mosquitoes in the swamp. Then slowly, her energy retracted and Gina dropped to one knee, weeping with exhaustion. The entire lot was decimated, blanketed in black and gray ash. Rips in her clothing and scratches on her flesh instantly mended. Yelling in frustration, Johnny swooshed over to Gina and kicked her in the face. His expensive suit looked as dirty as a mechanic's overalls. Weakened from her power surge, Gina had fallen to the ground, never seen the attack coming. Surprised, John bragged. You thought I was all mind spells, didn't you? My instincts told me you would be moronic enough to turn down my offer. So, I got myself an upgrade. As draining as that last attack must have been, you have very little energy to fight back. Meaning, I can kill you whenever I wish. John fired more kicks to her stomach and stomped on her chest. For the first time since her rebirth, Gina vomited out blood. He violently jerked her head back by a handful of hair and whispered in her ear, "It didn't have to end this way. We could have done great things together. Had dozens of children. But if this is how you want it, then so be it." John threw her back down and stood over like an angry schoolteacher. He held his hands out and channeled the dark energy that fueled him. Red lightning sparkled in his palms. With the little strength she had, Gina rolled to her back. Her arms spread across the floor. Heavily breathing, she pushed her body to the limit, mustering as much energy as she could for one last attack. Waves of immense electricity rocketed from out her hands and wrapped around John's body like barbed wire, burning and shuddering him. Unstoppable convulsion, like sitting soaking wet in the electric chair. As he screamed in torture, Gina fired an uppercut that sent him flying through the ceiling. She plummeted to the ground as weak as a kitten, unable to move. No time to rest. Must re-energize. As long as Hart was on the loose, no one was safe. She quieted her mind and listened to her heartbeat, wanting to tune into God's frequency.
"Lord, if you can hear me,"
silently she prayed,
"my work is not finished. Grant me power, as you've done before. Provide me with what I need to fulfill my task. Replenish me."
In less than a minute, warm, gentle winds braced her face. Her body began to float upright. Blinding light rippled throughout the lot. Her eyes saw nothing but a golden shine coat her entire body. Warmness and love filled her heart. After inhaling the angelic breeze, the golden light vanished. She returned to full power. Looking up to the heavens, she got to her feet and whispered,
Thank you.
Chapter 68. John soared over the Federal Reserve, twirling within the burning smoke caused by the explosion. And like a comet from space, he came crashing down to the outdoor parking lot, causing many armored cars to tumble over like dominoes. Lying in a crater the size of a city block, he gathered what strength he had left to stagger up to his feet. Dizzy, trembling knees, intense pain. Walking like a zombie, he got as far as the entrance gate before collapsing to the ground. Winded, he sobbed like a baby, steaming with aggravation and panic. Fumbling through his pockets, he found his cell phone and dialed Grandpa. It went straight to voicemail. Redialed, same result. After several repeats, nothing changed. The Angelite had ruined his plan. None of the loot had been recovered. His team disbanded. Grandpa hadn't even called to confirm if the mission was a success. He felt abandoned. Grandpa, the traitor, he whined. Who needs him? All he did was hold me back. Blame me for his blunders. My plans were ruined because of him. You hear me, old fool. This is your fault. The hell with you! As he limped and hobbled his way to the street, he heard his name being shouted from yards away. A tall suit ran toward him, holding a firearm. Was it a cop out of network planning to finish him off? No. It was a worried Saxon Davis. What in the name of John Wayne is going on here? He asked, rushing to aid his #1 officer. Oh, thank God it's you, sir, John exaggerated in a distressed tone. I barely escaped with my life, sir. They're all gone, sir. My team was murdered. We failed to protect the city. Saxon shockingly stared at the upper half of the reserve engulfed in flames. Who did this? He sternly asked. The NYPD! They got organized. We've all been hoodwinked. My team and I gathered some last-minute intel about officers looking for retribution over the prison massacre. John gulped. I would have called you. We had to move quickly. They were planning to cripple the city's finance and hold Goldberg responsible. I had to stop them. I tried to prevent this from happening. I'm sorry, sir. Tears ran down his face while overacting with sobs. Normally, Saxon would have believed his every word. However, he sensed something wasn't right. John's stories seemed vague, not so believable. What sources do you have? He asked. How could you come to such a conclusion so fast? While in a discombobulated state, John's mind control power had weakened. He grabbed the side of his head, pretending to have a migraine. But no matter how hard he pushed, Saxon couldn't fall under his spell. Look around you, sir, he protested. Do you think I'm making this up? All these officers are dead, and for what? Those cretins at City Hall will brush this under the rug and take even more from us like they've been doing for the past 5 years. Goldberg will continue to make us look bad until he has complete control. And that won't happen until he gets the city to turn on us. Look what happened to the cop from the 14th. This won't be the last time you'll hear about a cop going on an insane killing spree. A cop? Saxon questioned. Autopsy reports confirmed that the officers were butchered in their cells, but the evidence was inconclusive on who committed the act. They never said anything about it being an inside job. How do you know it was a cop who killed them? Were you there? John trembled in frustration, not saying a word. Not since the death of his wife had Saxon felt such heartache. This was the worst betrayal he could have ever imagined. Gina was right, he gasped. Why'd you kill him, John? Next to the detective was a fallen bank guard with their firearms still in the holster. He couldn't trick his boss any longer. Only one option left to take. He dropped to his knees and begged for forgiveness. His bottom lip quivered. Please, don't kill me, sir. I didn't know what else to do. I felt like I was failing the city. I was the sworn defender. Forgive me. Saxon didn't know how to react. He thought John was demented and needed help. He went to touch the detective's shoulder, assuring him that everything would be okay. All of a sudden, John popped up with his hand wrapped around the gun. Saxon's white shirt got drenched in blood. He stared at the holes planted in his chest, leaking red before his eyes, losing feeling below the neck as he dropped to the ground. Taking in final breaths, his faded eyesight watched John drop the gun by his feet while he hobbled away without a care. The veteran then heard a sorrowful yell. Shivering from a rush of cold wind that brushed over his body, his finest officer had emerged onto the scene. Bless you, Gina, he whispered, followed by a long exhale. His head tilted sideways as his life force vanished. Refusing to lose faith, Gina's teary eyes looked into his aura. No glowing color. Performing CPR at rapid speed wouldn't help. His body gave out.
Not him. Please, don't take him. Please, don't take him yet.
She frowned. After their ugly spat, Saxon trusted her after all. She owed him. With untapped power in her possession, she hoped for some way to revive him as Pastor Good had done for her. Maybe she can somehow summon the warrior angel on her own. Perhaps transfer her powers onto him. Either way, she had to work fast. The veteran's stellar career couldn't end like this, being gunned down by a coward.
Lord, you need to guide me on this.
She closed her hands and focused on healing. Shortly after, underneath his bloody shirt developed a golden coating, sparkling under the midnight stars. Glowing orbs flew around like butterflies, populating by the second fluttering in a circular motion. Like honey flowing from a beehive, the orbs poured all over his body and then seeped into his skin. During this supernatural transformation, a large hole opened from the night sky, shining a blinding light down directly on the veteran. Just then, a warrior angel zoomed through the atmosphere and plunged into his body. Flowing blood retracted back into his body as his wounds sealed shut. Limbs and tissue got consumed by the coating, shining off his skin brighter than glow sticks at a rave. And just like that, the light evaporated. The hole in the sky closed.
What just happened?
Gina gasped as the orbs fluttered away. Saxon opened his eyes. He looked up at Gina, drying her eyes.
Thank God,
she whispered. Gina helped the veteran get to his feet and rested him against a busted armored car. Getting his thoughts together, Saxon was still unsure as to what just happened. I must be getting Alzheimer's because I do not have a clue how I got here. Did I drive? Did you bring me here? Gina couldn't answer. Forgive me, Vasquez. I wasn't myself. With Beverly, my drinking, John, and I owe you my deepest—
Stop it, sir.
she interrupted.
It was wrong for me to put you in a difficult spot. It's I who owe you an apology.
But I came anyway, and I owe you my life.
After what you've done for me over the years, I'd say we're even.
Fair enough. He looked around the lot. Where's Hart?
He got away.
Why'd you let him go?
It was either getting him or saving you. A no-brainer.
Then we have to go after him.
You've been through enough. Rest up first, and then—
I can't. You warned me about him, and I should have listened. Now I want to see that son of a b*** suffer.
It's not that easy, sir. Hart's too powerful to be in a prison cell. Only I can stop him.
What do you mean, too powerful?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you, sir. It's better if I show you.
Gina swirled around the lot like a tornado and started gathering armored cars like groceries. Saxon shielded his eyes as he watched heavy winds, getting dizzy from the various colors spinning before him. He looked once the wind stopped and saw Gina dust off her hands next to a mountain of trashed vehicles leaning like the Tower of Pisa. Saxon's quivering jaw made it hard for him to talk. I am sober now, right? He doubtfully asked. That is you, Gina. In front of me, right? I'm not home on my couch drunk as a skunk, am I? Am I dreaming?
You're not dreaming, sir.
She assured.
Angels have blessed me with supernatural powers to protect the world from a demonic invasion. That's how I was able to bring you back.
Bring back? What do you mean? Saxon touched the red on his shirt. Fresh blood. Then he looked at his chest and caressed the healed bullet wounds. All he could do was gasp in amazement. How long you had these gifts?
About a week now.
She guessed. How on earth did this—
No time to explain. I got to find a way to get Hart and save Allie before—
He's got Alexandra?
His soldiers do. They've sieged FBI headquarters to spring a trap for me. I gotta get her out of there, but she made me promise to stop Hart first. He may know you're still alive, so I suggest you lay low until this fight is over and—
Go after Hart. I'll rescue Alexandra.
With all due respect, I don't think that's a good idea. John is the first of many demonic soldiers to come, and he's got that entire building filled with demonic crazed cops who are ready to kill at a drop of a dime. They will gun you down at first sight and not think twice about it.
Vasquez, do you doubt my ability as an officer? You may have youth and power on your side, but I've got years of strategic and tactical operations under my belt. Do you think I run the state police because of my good looks? I'm in charge because I'm the best. If I tell you I'm going to get your sister out, then trust me when I say that I'm going to get Alexandra out. Gina was proud to once again see the strong-willed captain she always remembered.
Be careful,
She warned.
I'll catch up with you as soon as I can.
Take your time, replied Saxon. I got this. Chapter 69. The last of Hart's brigade rushed up to the 10th floor. rifles pressed against their shoulders with night scopes slapped over their eyes. Perspiration drenched their faces from the heat of the fire circling the building. Kicking down doors and flipping over benches, the group was anxious to stumble upon wounded guards or hidden employees to take hostage as a desperate attempt by them to be granted safe passage out of the building. Seeing their unit beaten to a pile of dust had completely snatched the lust out of their hearts. Survival is all that mattered now. One cop held his hand up, signaling for the team to stop. They heard something strange. Sounded like someone whistling the tune of the Frank Sinatra classic, Strangers in the Night. Night scopes picked up body signatures. So where did the whistling come from?
Who was doing that?
One cop yelled. Coldness trickled down their necks. Anxiously, they waved their weapons around the hall, ready to shoot the first perpetrator spotted. Unexpectedly, a curvy silhouette appeared posing by the window. Hands on hips, long and curly hair.
There she is! There she is! That's her! That's the Angelite!
Heavy artillery rattled in the darkness for several minutes. Gun smoke curled up from the shells that clanged down on the waxed floor. Glass splattered everywhere. The plaster popped from the strays. Hanging wall decor got totaled. Fear had backslapped their faces after they stopped firing, seeing there wasn't a body lying below. She vanished. They hit nothing. Whistling to get their attention was Natalie, standing behind them. Sarcastically, she whispered,
You missed.
Multiple gulps echoed in the dark. Shivering in fear, they hesitantly turned around with their weapons aimed high. Before another shot was fired, the Angelites' blazing fists hammered down each crew member like nails to a fence. Demons erupted from their bodies while skeletons violently burst apart. Deaf from the horrid squealing, Natalie watched ghastly spirits ripping apart like cotton candy as they were being dragged through the cracks of the ground and back down to hell. Weapons and charred uniforms laid atop of the cremated wasteland. On the verge of panicking, Natalie stepped back and reminded herself that they were no longer human.
Get a grip, girl.
More ghastly ghouls were out there, nastier and more horrifying than these grunts. Suddenly, slow, rhythmic taps against the wax floors cracked through the silence. Echoing down the hallway, she scanned the darkness and saw no one hiding underneath. Moving toward the roof access staircase, cold night air brushed against her face as she opened the door. Moonlight blanketed by gray shades of smoke. From behind, coiling blonde hair emerged along a shimmering machete. Lifeless eyes coldly stared. Green slime leaked through a set of rotten teeth, lapped up by a slithering white tongue. Cat Strutter was here. Sensing an attack was coming, Natalie moved just as the machete came swinging across. A few loose ends got sliced. Natalie rammed her against the wall. Cat swung the machete again, but her wrist got caught. Anger rose from the pit of the Angelite's stomach as she looked into the eyes of her cousin's murderer. Sweat trickled. Her body felt scalding hot, seeping through her fingers. Just then, flames shot out from her hands and burned Cat Strutter at the touch. Roaring like a Tyrannosaurus in pain, she pushed the Angelite away and took off to the roof.
Get back here, you coward!
Natalie yelled before racing after her. Walking past the toxic smoke and wall of immense heat, she walked to the center of the rooftop. Kat stood on the other side, favoring her burned wrist. A standoff. She reached around her back and pulled out her shiny, deadly weapon. Then she stretched her arms out wide, daring the Angelite to attack first. Ready to charge forward like a bobsled, Natalie took one step and felt the floor slightly sink. It could cave in at any moment. Still, she refused to surrender. This blonde devil needed to be sent back down to hell where the hell she belongs. Thinking creatively, she swung 3 punches in the air like a shadow boxer. Nothing happened. Guffawing echoed throughout the fiery scene as Kat found her attack extremely hilarious. And all of a sudden, Kat's face got pounded 3 times like being hit by flying cinder blocks. Natalie then swished across the roof and landed a front kick that knocked Kat clear off the building. She took a knee to conserve her energy. The blonde killer should be back at any moment. Surrounding flames grew higher. At that moment, an ear-splitting shriek thundered from the sky. Kat swooped down from above and swung her blade like a tennis racket. Natalie rolled away just as a chunk of rooftop got sliced. Kat swung her blade and missed. Natalie countered with a right hook to her jaw. She swung again. Another miss. Thunderous right to the jaw. This back and forth routine repeated several times, with Natalie hitting harder than her last punch. She then fired a roundhouse kick, missed. Ah! Pain shot up her spine as Kat sliced a machete down her back. However, her wound healed instantly. Kat went in for another attack, but Natalie sidestepped her and locked on a rear naked chokehold. Gagging mercilessly, Kat dropped backward along the roof edge. Natalie released the hold after feeling the immense pain of her spine nearly being cracked in half. Kat grabbed a handful of Natalie's hair and landed straight punches to her face. She then threw her on the ground and twisted the tip of her boot into her back. Grimacing in pain, Natalie pushed away Kat's muscular leg and retaliated with a jumping uppercut. She then leapt into the air and drove her boots on top of the blonde's demonic skull. Kat plummeted through the roof and continually crashed down through every level thereafter. Riotous noises of crumbling concrete, bursting pipes, and banging metal was heard from within the black hole she left behind. Catching her breath, Natalie waited for Strutter to come back. A few minutes passed. She never emerged. Was it over? At least for now? She knew Kat Strutter was too strong to die that easily. Now, the entire foundation began to quake. The roof sank from under her feet. Smoke rose from all directions. Where's Gina? She had to find her. Maybe she can listen out for her. Focus. Listen. Where is she? Wait. What's that? Amongst the chaos, she heard a rhythmic beating sound, kind of like a heartbeat, faint, slowing down. Could it be Gina? If not, then who? Natalie raced downstairs and followed the sound. It led her to the blazing inferno inside the records department. Beats became louder. clearer. She searched through the fiery wreckage and found the blackened body of Zeke Tricolo, trapped under a pile of broken furniture. She took a deep breath, attempting to blow away the smoke, but unimaginably, it all got sucked up when she inhaled as if her lungs were a giant vacuum cleaner.
What did I just do?
She thought, while coughing out gray puffs. She then threw Zeke over her shoulder and swished out just as the remains of the roof trampled and destroyed the entire room. Chapter 70. Natalie laid Zeke outside across the street from the bank. His clothes were as black as a tuxedo. Flushed red skin with no major burns. As she turned him on his side to breathe, deja vu struck when she noticed his surfer hairdo. Something looked strangely familiar about him. His charred glasses fell off. She swooshed to the restroom inside the bank lobby and wetted some paper towels with soap and water. Rushing back to Zeke in seconds, she wiped his face clean. No, it can't be. Zeke woke up as if he got doused with cold water, coughing and breathing heavily.
What happened?
He thought.
How did I get here?
He looked up at Natalie. Was he dreaming? He closed his eyes and counted to 3. It's no dream. He recognized the Angelite's stunned face.
Nat? Please tell me it's you?
Natalie thought her past was gone, but it came roaring back in one fell swoop. John Hart knows this man as Zeke Tricolo. She saw an old friend who lost touch with her over the years, Memphis Knox. Disbelievingly, she uttered,
Memphis?
She practically got suffocated with the tightest hug Zeke could muster.
Damn good to see you, Nat,
he said. Although pleasant to see a friendly face, she questioned why he was here. Why now? What's his involvement with this fiasco?
Good seeing you too,
she said.
But what the f*** you doing here?
I was about to ask you the same question. Are you with the FBI? I called you guys first thinking you'd get here the quickest. What took you so long anyway?
FBI? Did you call the FBI? Tonight?
He confirmed.
Are you saying that you're working with John Hart? Been down with him the whole time? Tell me you're not rolling with him.
Memphis pleaded with his hands held high.
Nat, listen to me. It's not what it seems like. You gotta believe me. I can explain.
She lifted him by his shirt and slammed him against the wall.
You knew about him all this time, and you've been acting like it was business as usual,
she scolded. Memphis struggled to get a word out as his shirt collar pressed against his throat.
You know me, Nat. I'm not a killer.
Shades of green radiated around him, and his body language showed signs of fear, not deception. He was telling the truth. She dropped him to his feet and asked,
Why in God's name would you align yourself with a piece of ish like John Hart?
He took a moment to catch his breath.
I never wanted to be a part of that maniacal regime, but it was my only way to stay alive. John Hart was my assignment. About 5 years ago, my department chose me to investigate him because I was one of the few trusted cops at the 442nd Precinct.
442nd? That precinct in Philly? I thought there were no survivors.
No normal survivors. Hart made sure none of his people were around when the explosion happened.
He plotted that massacre?
Yes, the media deemed it an act of terrorism, but no radical groups, international or domestic, had ever taken credit for it. It was an inside job, assisted by some higher-ups who'd kill you with the snap of a finger for betrayal.
Tell me everything and make it quick. I'm on the clock.
Memphis broke his long history down to the shortest possible version, aware that they were both pressed for time.
One night, my team and I infiltrated a drug deal at the Bouncing Peach Club on South Street. One of the guys I arrested turned out to be a cop from my department, going into business for himself. Several cops were involved with the drug trafficking game in South Philly back in those days. Might still be now. Instead of booking them right away, I drove them out to the docks and handled things the old-fashioned way.
How?
I beat the holy hell out of him until he confessed everything. Names, numbers, locations, enough to put the top guys away for a long time.
So what happened?
The cop refused to testify, making my evidence circumstantial. Nothing left for me to do but book him for the bust.
He thought for a moment.
Later that night, my superiors approached me about an undercover operation to root out the rotten cops. Being the dedicated officer I was, utter nonsense, I accepted the job. The next day, I got transferred to robbery and homicide, and that's when the Zeke Tricolo character was born.
Natalie raised an eyebrow over his choice of name.
Was Hart one of the cops?
She asked.
Yes.
Did you catch him right away?
Never suspected him. I thought he was a friend. Days after his failed protest, John transferred to Philly for a fresh start. He and I partnered up on the first day on patrol. In spite of his babbling ways, we developed a bond. Bowling nights with Naomi and some friends, Monday night football at the pub, guy shit, you know? He's an insecure person, stemming from being mistreated and bullied during his childhood. That's what triggered him to do the rally. He hated seeing officers bullied by the system.
How did you know he was crooked?
As time went on, I noticed outside officials had gotten in his ear, changing him into more of a conniving figure. I didn't know them as the crucifix back then. Underhanded deals turned into a daily routine. I tried distancing myself from him, but he wouldn't take the hint. "You're like a brother to me," he would say to me. Before I could blow the whistle, John heard about a mole in his unit. I wasn't the only one. He weeded out that mole, took him and my superiors, and gutted them all like pigs.
Sweet Jesus,
Natalie said sorrowfully.
To destroy all the evidence, the crucifix blew up the precinct, leaving no one left alive to implicate John or identify me. It would have been their word against mine. Therefore, I'm now stuck as Zeke Tricolo until the day I die.
and that's why you're still with him.
I wanted Naomi to be safe. You may think I'm selfish for the choice that I made, but I swear on my mother's grave that I've never, ever killed anyone.
Man, I'm sorry. I can only imagine the nightmare you've been living for so many years, constantly holding up the weight of that facade you created. I just know how evil these demons can be, how manipulative and demanding they can be to the strongest of minds. I automatically thought they got a hold of you too.
Don't be sorry. How can you have known that? We haven't seen each other in years. This is the job we do. Put our lives on the line to ensure the future of our loved ones. I'm sure Martha would agree. Surprised she's not here beside you right now.
Yeah, I'm sure she would have loved seeing you again.
Would've? What do you mean would've? Is she?
She confirmed with a slow nod and a white under her eye.
Oh no. When?
A few days now.
Did Hart do it?
No, but I know who did.
Castrutter.
You heard her too, huh?
Heed my warning. You can't go after that beast with your guns blazing like in the Wild West. She's very powerful. She's a very powerful thing. Cold-blooded and extremely f***ing dangerous.
Oh, so am I. She's not gonna slip away the next time I get my hands on her, because I'm gonna tell you right now, she picked the right one today.
Wait a minute. Nobody has ever encountered Cat Strutter and lived to tell about it.
He then recalled what John was crying about earlier.
Hart said there were 2 Angelites, and you're here. No! No way! You're like Vasquez? An Angelite?
She nodded proudly.
Damn! How did you become one?
Better ask Gina.
A symphony of sirens and horns approached, gradually increasing in volume.
You should get out of here, Memph. The cops will be here any minute. Good cops, I hope.
Let 'em come,
He said.
Now that the show is over, I'm ready to make my exit.
I don't think that's a good idea. Even though you helped us foil the robbery, Hart's boys will name you as an accessory. Besides, how can you get them to believe that outlandish backstory you just laid on me?
I am an accessory, Nat. For a small shot at redemption, I need to pay the penalty for my part in this horror show. Now do us both a favor and put Cat Strutter 6 feet deep, forever this time.
Natalie looked at her friend as if they won't see each other again. Although she has the power to protect him, Memphis had a valid point about owning up to his choices. She was proud of him.
Godspeed.
You too, Nat,
He replied.
Naomi would have loved to have seen you one last time.
She smiled.
Keep that champagne on ice just in case.
A blast of wind pushed Memphis back as the Angelite swished out of the area. Ready to accept the consequences, Memphis Knox dropped to his knees and locked his fingers behind his head, waiting for the police to slap the cuffs on his wrists. For the first time in years, he looked up and spoke to God, requesting only one thing.
Keep my friend safe.
Chapter 71. Khalil worriedly paced on the heliport as he radioed his units for a progress report. Results came back negative.
Haven't seen any of them, sir.
One of his guys radioed back.
Want us to wait?
No, let's just call it a night. Release all the hostages and go home, Khalil sarcastically replied. Of course I want you to wait, idiot. Do you think I would go through all this trouble just to give up now? One of them will show. Be ready. He glanced at the beaten Lloyd Scruthers, still handcuffed to the guardrail. Your boss isn't too bright, he taunted. Her surrender will ensure the safety of everyone in this building, and yet she's not here. How can she be so selfish by sacrificing one of her top agents to mask over her cowardliness? Coward? An appalled Lloyd questioned. You should look in the bloody mirror when you say that. I would rather die than see her submit herself to vermin like you. What about the rest of her staff? Will they be so valiant to give up their lives knowing their boss is running around this building like a cheese-sniffing rat? Why does she lack the integrity to come up here and face me one-on-one? Who are you to talk about integrity, since you have none? Deeply insulted, Khalil punt-kicked Lloyd in his jaw. One more insult like that, and Vasquez will be crying over your rotting corpse, he threatened. It only takes one bullet. Keep that in mind. You better hope your commander has the sense you believe she does, because I guarantee that your whole team will suffer a great f***ing deal if she doesn't. Feedback sounded from Khalil's radio. He excitedly picked it up and answered, hoping for some good news. His high hopes soon deflated once he heard Harvey Gaines' cocky voice.
It's done!
He reported.
The bomb is hooked up at the designated place, and it will explode at the designated time. I've gone ahead and uploaded the software to your cell in case you want to blow it up yourself. So them girlies still ain't show up yet, huh?
Not yet, Khalil reported.
Man, that's too bad. Sure would hate to see all this hard work go to waste. But I wish you good luck, my man. Wasn't all that bad working with you. Still a top wall, blockhead little turd burglar, but you're kinda cool. Word of advice though. Get the dynamite out your crack and loosen up, alright? See you back at the club, dog. Can't wait to get up in there and start popping the bubbly and sniffing my green stacks, you feel me?
What the hell do you mean, good luck?
Yo, I did my job, dog. My work here is finished. Getting them girls down here is your headache. And I suggest you do Hart the favor before his foot is the next thing to be shoved up your ass, you dig? I'm out.
No! You just can't leave me here! You have the strength to fight an Angelite, but I can't even fight the younger sister by myself! They'll tear me apart if they know I'm here alone!
Well, guess what? That's what those damn grunts downstairs are for. Use them. Tell them to waste the employees, then light up the Angelites when she gets here. Damn, must I think of anything up in this piece?
That is not going to work! Come on, Harvey, please! What's the point in having all that power if you're not going to use it?
Harvey was unmoved by Khalil's plea.
Fine. What if I give you a piece of my money?
A piece?
Harvey countered.
Nah, son. I'm thinking half would suffice.
Half? You want half of my money when you're already getting a whole share for yourself?
Motherfucking right. You got it, dog. Take it or leave it.
Quaking from his bony knees to the bottom of his creased shoes, Khalil wanted to rip every strand of hair from his head.
And by the way, there is a time limit on these negotiations. We got a deal, or what?
All right, Khalil reluctantly accepted.
Smart choice. Now, since I'm getting paid overtime for my services, I'm gonna sweep the building again to see if I could sniff out the little flea for you. Meanwhile, get on that radio and give her another warning. But put some more, oomph into it, you know? Talk harder, with a little bass in your voice, you feel me? Scream, snarl, do something. At least try not to scare the broad this time, know what I mean?
Right, Khalil gritted. Just find her. Chapter 72. Saxon waited at the stoplight, Chambers Street straight ahead. He could see FBI headquarters just a few blocks away. This was the perfect area to park to avoid suspicion from outdoor security. He drove the car behind the fish market and parked it in an alleyway. Walking through the deserted district, getting closer to the building, he was surprised not to see an army of armed cops crowding the lobby. Instead, it was filled with white smoke swirling behind the glass. He maneuvered behind the trees in Thomas Paine Park. Taking cover behind some bushes, he spotted two cops on a cigarette break. The radios brushed with feedback, followed with Khalil's agitated voice.
Agent Vasquez, I got some valuable news I thought you'd be delighted to hear. The bomb has been loaded and is set to detonate by morning, unless you stop being a coward and surrender. And by the way, don't bother looking to root. or hack into it because there is a second bomb looming close by. You still got time to decide, but I'm running out of patience, and I don't know how long good old Lloyd can hold up. Ta-ta.
With the odds heavily stacked against him, Saxon chose to move ahead, holding to the promise he made to Gina. Where there's a will, there's a way, he thought. As the two cops joked about the building being blown to smithereens, Saxon ran onto the courtyard, undetected. He searched around the buildings for an alternate entrance, an open door, or even a window small enough to crawl through. No such luck. The place was sealed like a can of sardines. Unbeknownst to him, white smoke coiled out from the sidewalk drainage. Curling by his feet, increasing in density, it started merging into a giant puff cloud, sprouting out a set of giant fangs, a forked tongue, and a set of serpent eyes. Uneasiness crawled up the veteran's shoulder, sensing he was being followed. He turned around. "Oh my God!" he shakenly shouted, trembling in absolute terror. The misty killer cobra started swaying back and forth before his eyes. Its tail rattled louder than a tower crane trapped in a hurricane. It hissed at the new prey it wished to devour. Saxon ran as fast as he could. The cobra closely slithered after him, craving for the taste of veteran blood. Then, inexplicably, a supernatural feat occurred as Saxon quickly gained momentum, moving with the speed of a jaguar. But how? Blurred buildings and motion lines came into view. Distance from the cobra greatly grew. Failing to see a low, flat staircase, however, caused him to trip and roll down the stairs. He laid on his back, woozy. No energy left to climb up and continue his run. The cobra quickly approached, hungrier and angrier than before. As Saxon attempted to crawl away, another wall of thick fog emerged from an exhaust pipe and blocked his path. A second cobra began to take form. He was surrounded. Both cobras roared as they drew closer, steaming his face with showering vapor. Saxon buried his face in the ground, praying for his demise to be fast and painless. All of a sudden, he saw an infrared image through the concrete. A nervous woman pacing back and forth. Long hair. Glasses. Alex! He had to get to her. So close. Miraculously, a flashing light consumed him. No moonlight. City surroundings and evil cobras had vanished. He only heard the sound of his breathing. Seconds later, fluorescent lights radiated above him. Surrounded by rows of cars and a driveway ramp, he looked around in shock. "Oh my God!" he shouted, bewildered. Somehow, some way, he got transported into the parking lot. In a rage, Alex ran up to him with her firearm drawn. Saxon immediately threw his hands up and begged her not to shoot.
Captain Davis?
She gasped. Saxon smiled and lowered his hands. Alex hyperventilated. The landslide of insane occurrences may have finally pushed her off the edge of sanity. Sax ran over and gave her a tight hug, shushing her to calm down. "Glad to see you're safe," he said, while opening up his arms.
"I'm not gonna ask,"
she said, with her hand up.
"After what I've gone through with Gina, nothing should surprise me anymore. Just tell me what the hell you're doing here."
Gina sent me. Actually, I volunteered.
"Why the hell would she bring you, of all people, into this?"
She came to me earlier tonight. Thought I could help in making sure the local cops got the right story with the raid and all. But she has enough on her plate with stopping John, so here I am.
So you're not like her?
What do you mean, like her?
You know, pulling off the whole superhero act, jumping over buildings, punching through walls.
He shook his head and shrugged. Not that I know of.
Then how the hell can you explain getting down here undetected? Unharmed at that?
Alexandra, your guess is as good as mine. 1 minute I'm being hunted by smoking behemoths, and the next thing I know, I'm down here with you.
I don't know what to think at this point.
Alex tilted her hand and squinted. Saxon continued. Well, there I was, moments from being devoured. I closed my eyes and then I saw you. Through the ground. I was wishing for a way to reach you and, I don't know. I wound up here. Can you explain to me how that's even possible?
What I know for sure is only Gina can pull something like that off. Oh, I don't know, Sax. It could have been a freak accident, but we're dealing with unearthly elements that go beyond our rationality.
You're telling me. Anyway, I'm glad you're safe.
Nobody is safe. Whoever's behind this has armed 2 bombs somewhere in the building, threatening to kill everyone unless I surrender.
She fell against the wall and slid down on her heels.
They plan to use me to lure Gina here. But I can't risk so many lives by calling their bluff.
Based on years of experience, these guys are doing the basic bad guy movie routine. It's a bluff. And since they're giving you time to think it over, let's take advantage of their stupidity. We'll find the bombs and defuse them ourselves.
That's impossible. Even if there wasn't a countdown working against us, do you know how many corridors and operational stations we have in this facility? I saw a guy down here earlier and he wasn't carrying a humongous device. He went and grabbed...
Just then, Alex recalled what Khalil said.
Wired. He said the bombs were wired.
She pondered for a minute.
Yes. That's why they shut off the Wi-Fi. The bombs have been integrated into a main grid, either uploaded from a portable drive or operating under Bluetooth technology. Once we find the source, then maybe I could corrupt the files, thus rendering it powerless.
Why don't we just shut down the power?
They wouldn't have gone through this much trouble if it were that easy. A self-destruct mechanism must be programmed as its last line of defense. This is too technical for the bomb squad to handle, so I agree. We need to do this ourselves.
Roger that. Do you know where we need to go?
Energy and generations on the 7th floor seems like the best bet. I need to tell Christine to stay put until we get back.
Who? Alex ran back to the lounge to check on Christine. She was gone. Not in the bathroom. Not hiding under the tables. She didn't answer to her name being called. Shh. Saxon ran over with his fingers against his lips. Our cover might be compromised. Now who's Christine?
What's happening to me?
Alex shouted, on the verge of a panic attack.
I've been attacked by zombie guards, chased by smoking snakes, talking to girls that don't exist. I can't take it anymore.
Calm down, Saxon pleaded, grabbing her shoulders. This night has been a huge burden on the both of us, but we can't crack under the pressure now. If this bomb is as technical as you believe it to be, then I need you to get it together. Innocent lives are at stake, as you said. I can't do this without you. Alex wiped her watery eyes and took some breaths. She nodded to Saxon, indicating she was okay. Good. Now I just wish I could get us up to the 7th floor and... Suddenly, another flash of light appeared. Wired dashboards and computer hard drives stood around them. Alex recognized the large room. They wondrously appeared at the energy and generations facility. She almost fainted. Chapter 73.
Sweet Jesus!
Alex gasped.
You're an angel's light!
No, Saxon stammered. That can't be. There's got to be a logical explanation for what just occurred.
Like what? Think about it. You just said you were outside where you saw me through the sidewalk, and bam! You wound up next to me. This time, you thought about getting to this room, and bam! Here we are. What other explanation is there?
Suddenly, they froze at the sound of keys rattling by the door lock. Someone must have heard them from the hall. Alex and Saxon ducked behind the mechanical towers by the wall. The door swung open, and 3 cops charged into the room, waving around guns and flashlights as they talked amongst themselves.
I'm telling you guys, I heard voices.
Those must have been the voices in your head.
No, damn it! I heard people talking in there. It might be Vasquez.
Why don't both of you guys shut the f*** up and keep looking before the boss comes?
Too late, suckers!
Harvey Gaines yelled from the front door.
What are you skid marks doing up in here? Playing with each other in the bathroom ain't good enough for y'all no more? We thought we heard, voices in here and, we came in to check it out, hoping we can find... The only thing y'all gonna find is my size 13 caving your skull if you don't get the back to your post, alright? Now get!
The cops obediently complied and charged out of the room. While Alex and Saxon looked on, Harvey logged on to the main computer and plugged an external hard drive into the USB port. Upload complete popped up on the monitor a few minutes later. Rubbing his hands and hissing with excitement, Harvey unplugged the drive and stuffed it in the front pocket of his tactical vest.
That might be the bomb,
Alex whispered as Harvey exited the room. I'll go by the door and post a lookout, Saxon whispered back. Think you can deactivate those bombs? She smirked.
Watch me work.
Saxon tiptoed toward the door and cracked it open. Coast was clear. Getting the OK signal, Alex rushed to the computer and cracked her knuckles before touching the keyboard. Luckily, the program was still open, designed similar to government defense software. Spending several frustrating minutes seeing her hacking tricks denied, Alex started guessing any Bureau-related phrases that came to mind. None worked. Then she tried demon-related words. Same deal. Stopping for a minute, she leaned back in the chair and pressed her hands against her eyes. Slow down. Think. Damn it, think. Everything that's happened since New Mexico has got her running on adrenaline. Gina's death, the church robbery, Brookhaven, Angelites.
That's it!
She typed in the word crucifix. Clucifix. Enter. Access granted.
I did it!
She hollered at Saxon.
The building's clear!
Before they could celebrate, Harvey emerged from behind the switchboard towers and wrapped his giant hand around the agent's throat.
Gotcha, baby!
You ain't going nowhere except with me. On blind instinct, Saxon swooshed across the room and hit Harvey like a runaway Mack truck. Leaving behind a giant hole in the wall, Harvey slid across the floor of the next room.
Get out of here!
Saxon ordered Alex.
I'll keep this overgrown psycho boy busy!
Alex opened the door and hurried out of the room. Getting to his feet, Harvey gasped with laughter as he gawked at his seasoned opposition.
You gots to be joking,
he said.
Man, come with it! What your ass gonna do to me?
Terrified beyond belief, Saxon stood his ground. Harvey rushed toward him. He thought about dodging, and suddenly he wound up on the other side of the room. Harvey was astounded, and so was Saxon. What was blinded by fear had been revealed by faith. Newfound power caressed every cell in his anatomy. Alex was right. Saxon Davis is now an Angelite. Straightening his tie and dusting off his suit, Saxon said to Harvey, "This old dog's got some tricks left up his sleeve, kiddo. Hit me with your best shot." Fuming with anger, Harvey attacked with a brigade of swinging fists. However, he wound up with more swings and misses than a little leaguer as each punch either missed or slapped the wall. From behind, Saxon tapped Harvey on the shoulder. As soon as he turned around, the veteran launched an uppercut against his chin. Harvey levitated off the floor and crash-landed on a pile of mechanical equipment. Hopping on his toes, Saxon hadn't felt this alive since being promoted to detective early in his career. Days of misery are forgotten. A new purpose in life had been discovered. Beverly would be proud. She's probably looking down on him right now, routing him along with the angels. Harvey slapped mechanics out of his way as he rushed back up, furious. "I'll kill you, old man!" He charged and wrapped his massive arms around the veteran's body while tackling him through another wall. Steel beams broke apart as if they were made of tinfoil as both men exploded out to the hallway. Before Saxon could regroup, Harvey dropped his big knee onto his chest. "Guess you can't teach an old dog new tricks," he taunted. Just then, Saxon heard a beep come from the room. A countdown clock appeared on the computer screen. 30 minutes and counting. "You really thought it was that easy, didn't you?" Harvey teased. "Just stop the clock and that's it, right? When you people gonna learn? I always got a plan B, man! All you motherfuckers gonna die tonight, and there's not a damn thing you, that shrimpy agent, or her alcoholic sister can do about it." "If I'm dying tonight," Saxon grunted, "then Junior, you're coming the off with me." He pushed Harvey off his chest and leapt on his shoulders like a cat. Attempting to put on a chokehold, the veteran couldn't help but think, how can he defeat this behemoth of a man? More importantly, how can he alert Alex that the bombs are still live? Wait a minute. Maybe he can get rid of this bomb and give Alex time to find the other. But where can he dispose of it? The basement! Yes! Now, how can he get rid of Harvey long enough to yank that computer out from the wall? Elevators are at the end of the hall. That's the best bet. How can he lure the big man toward that direction? Both men appeared inside the elevator shaft. Saxon thought time had slowed down as he looked around the shaft and gasped at the fact that there was no ground underneath their feet. They were suspended in midair. Seeing the death-defying drop below, Saxon released his arms and quickly disappeared. With nothing to hold on to and not possessing any power to fly, Harvey spiraled down to the landing base, releasing a high-pitched scream along the way. Seconds later, Saxon reappeared in the energy and generations room. He raced over to the computer screen and didn't bother scrambling for the disarming code. Alex, who's far more tech-savvy than him, couldn't figure it out. All hope would be lost if he attempted to try. The bomb was Harvey's baby. Its rightful place should be with its creator. Grabbing hold of the electrical tower and its plug, Saxon waited before pulling them off the wall, or else the bomb would explode immediately. His timing had to be precise. "I hope this works!" Thinking about the shaft, he ripped the computer station away from its wiring before vanishing. Reappearing at the bottom of the shaft, he stood over a beaten and bloody Harvey Gaines and dropped the equipment on his chest. "You forgot this," he said, and then disappeared again. Knowing these were the last seconds of his life, Harvey screamed like an opera singer stepping on a nail as the long beep echoed throughout the elevator shaft. Flames engulfed the entire shaft and continued to travel upward, eating everything in its path. Perched on top of the elevator stationed several floors above, Saxon thanked God his plan had worked. But there was no time to relish the victory as the fire grew higher. He then vanished just as the flames swallowed the elevator and shot through the ceiling like a volcano. Chapter 74. Alex ran out and skidded in her tracks at the sight of 8 cops in riot gear blocking her path. They ordered her to stop, but she ran the other way and rammed the staircase door open. The roof was a bad idea since she knew Khalil was waiting for her. There was only one place where she can shake these cops off her trail: the Physical and Fitness Center. She leapt downstairs to the level below and swiped the hall door open with her key card. Running past several training rooms, she stopped by 2 swinging blue doors in the middle of the hall and waited, not to catch her breath, but to have the cops see where she was going. What did she have in mind? One by one, the cops spilled out from the stairway. "Get back here!" they shouted. Alex pushed through the swinging doors and shut off all the lights. Cops hastily charged down the hall and followed her inside. Unfortunately, they failed to read the sign out front that said, "Combat Training Facility." Suffocating in darkness, the cops scurried around looking for a light switch. Blindly, they bumped into every piece of equipment between the jagged walls of the enormous room. Fear of the unknown seeped in their heads like kids trapped in a haunted house. None of them wanted to move. "Quit playing games, little girl!" a cop shouted, gulping his throat. "I know you're in here! Show yourself!" "What about our flashlights?" his partner asked. The cop facepalmed and ordered his team to turn on their flashlights as if they should have known better. Light beams flurried through the room like fireflies in a swamp.
"I'll make a deal with you,"
another cop offered.
"Surrender now, and we won't kill you. We'll still have to beat the out of you, but just to incapacitate you. Come on, sugar dumpling. Please come on."
Gagging sounds plagued their ears, followed by 3 pounds and a loud thud. Flashlights swept across the floor until they discovered that flirty officer flattened on the floor like a carpet, out cold. A shiner and massive red swelling decorated one side of his face. Just then, another cop got beaten in the same fashion as the team found him lying on his stomach. The third cop began to panic. He ran away without looking where he was going. Flashes popped before his eyes. Unfortunately for him, he ran right into a weight rack and gave himself a concussion by cracking his head against a lifting bar. He's done. Fourth cop shouted, "I can't take it no more! I'm gonna shoot! Damn it! I'm gonna shoot!" 3 shots fired. Fifth cop screamed and hollered, "Why you shoot me for, man? You dumb son of a..." Just then, Alex used a white oak bow staff to disarm both cops, smacking the weapons out of their hands and whacking them upside their heads. The 6th cop ran for the door, but Alex jumped on his back before he could make it out. Gagging from the agent's slender arm wrapped around his throat, he passed out. She then rolled him behind the bleachers and kept creeping behind the equipment. 2 cops left alone in the dark. "You know what?" one of them threatened. "When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna carve my initials on your face!" The lights suddenly turned on. Unbeknownst to the last men standing, Alex was waiting behind them. She snatched the nightstick from the threatening cop's belt and swung it 3 times, once to the ribs and twice to the head. Before the last cop could make a move, Alex jabbed the nightstick against his throat.
How many are left?
She asked. The cop rubbed his throat and snarled. She dropped the nightstick and held up her hands.
Just talk to me, and I'll let you walk out of here.
Ignoring her plea, the cops put up his fists. He wanted to fight. "You're not leaving this building alive," he giggled. Catching sight of his amateurish swing, Alex caught his wrist and judo tossed him onto the floor. Arching his aching back, the cop shakingly stood up on crooked legs. Not allowing him to catch his breath, Alex leapt forward and kicked him through the supply closet door. Buried underneath athletic supplies, the cop got yanked up by his collar and slammed against the wall. The agent demanded to know how many intruders were left on the roof. The cop gasped. "1! Khalil!" Chapter 75. Alex cracked open the access door and saw only 2 men on the heliport. She figured the man with the crappy brown suit and flapping ponytail had to be the main antagonist, Khalil. Lloyd was the other, beaten to his knees and shackled like a criminal. Now her blood started to boil. Khalil upsettingly checked the time on his phone. "Guess your captain doesn't care about you after all," he said. "But don't worry. Your death will be for the greater—" "Spare me your pathetic patriotic nonsense, you greasy pig!" yelled Lloyd. He spat blood on Khalil's shoes. "Kill me and get it over it!" Khalil backslapped him. "I wish I had the time to slice your throat from ear to ear, but I've got hundreds of people to kill and millions of dollars to pick up. Your precious Vasquez will never get you out in time. With the bloodshed and chaos that'll plague this entire planet for years to come," he sighed. "Young man, I'm just doing you a favor." He then swiped open the detonation app Harvey programmed on his phone. A red pill-shaped button appeared, embedded with the word "Activate." Just then, someone hissed at him. He turned around expecting to see one of his half-witted henchmen. Alex launched a left fist to Khalil's jaw, knocking him flat on his ass. As he moaned and groaned on the floor, Alex snatched the cuff keys hanging from his belt. Lloyd pleasantly smiled, seeing his boss coming to save his life. "I knew you'd come sooner or later," he chuckled.
Sorry I took so long,
said Alex, while opening the shackles.
Now I need you to go downstairs and lay low for a—
Like bloody hell! No way, I'm leaving you alone in this damn place of dog turd.
I'll be fine, but our friends won't be if I don't nab this weasel. I wish I could explain everything to you, but there's no time. Trust me, please, go!
Before leaving the heliport, Lloyd firmly grabbed his boss and planted a long kiss on her lips. As he hobbled off the roof, Alex was left speechless. "You're not leaving!" Khalil yelled. "Hart never respected me!
His men don't respect me! I told you I got a bomb, and you hit my face! You don't respect me either! I was told to lure you here so the Angelite can show up. We both know good and damn well I don't stand a chance against her! I'm a dead man walking!
He prolonged a wicked laugh.
The beautiful thing is, I will kill the Angelite! Everlasting anguish will destroy her, knowing that I was the one who killed her sister! One swipe of this button, and we go bye-bye!
Funny expression coming from you, since you're the one who's crying like a baby,
said Alex.
Why don't you go ahead and push that fucking button? Quite honestly, I'm getting fucking tired listening to your annoying voice.
So you're that anxious to die, huh? My pleasure!
Khalil pressed the button on the touchscreen. Nothing happened. His face twisted as if he was sucking a bag of lemons. His shoulders tensed and hands balled up. He pressed several more times until the screen cracked. His eyes watered.
Didn't work, did it?
Alex responded.
In your last announcement, you gave your whole plan away. I found out where you hid the bomb and disarmed it. The only remaining question is, where did you plant the second bomb? And the beautiful thing is, I got all the time I need to beat the truth out of you.
She stuck out her chin.
Come on. I dare you.
Khalil lunged forward with a wild punch. Alex sidestepped and elbowed the back of his head. He tumbled to the ground and cradled his ribs, groaning and whimpering. Alex then stomped on his back several times. Even while screaming from the pain, he desperately continued to push the button.
That's enough of that,
she said before punting the phone out of his hand. Khalil gave a long, dramatic cry as he watched it spiral off of the roof. She kicked his legs apart and said,
"This one's for Lloyd!"
One huge stomp to his midsection. Soaking with tears and perspiration, Khalil curled up like a fetus and bawled like a spoiled child. Alex dragged him toward the edge of the building and hung him over.
"No!"
Khalil bawled.
"Stop, please!"
I've been seeing human beings do some amazing things these past few days. Speeding, flying, instant transportation. They say that we can do anything we put our minds to, right? I wonder what you can do. Let's see if a rat like you can grow a pair of wings and fly.
You don't want to do this. I can help you take down Hart. He forced me to do this. He wanted me to kill the Angelite, but I couldn't do it. I greatly respect her, and you too. Just let me go, and you'll never have to hear from me again.
All I want to hear is the location of the second bomb. You got 10 seconds, or else you go bye-bye. 10, 9, 8...
Wait, I'll show you. Over there. I'll show you.
Alex yanked him by his tie and dragged him back to the heliport.
Here,
he pleaded.
Somewhere around here.
Could you be more specific?
She looked around for a small box or hidden compartment. All of a sudden, the entire roof trembled under her feet. She lost her balance and let go of his tie. Once freed, Khalil dug into his jacket and slapped a keyless shackle onto Alex's wrist. Embedded on it was the second bomb crystal with a tiny countdown clock. 20 minutes and counting.
You wanted the bomb, right? Now you got it!
He laughed hysterically. Alex pulled and tugged on the shackle, but it wouldn't budge.
My dear, it was ingenious of you to deactivate my bomb. However, the one you're wearing is very much alive. I knew I was no match for the Angelite. Therefore, I designed this baby to wipe her out for good.
Since she's a no-show, I might as well use it to kill another Vasquez, right? No more codes, no more wires, no more buttons. Just boom goes the dynamite. And so do you. Alex looked terrified. Only Gina could rip this contraption off, but she's on the other side of town. She'll never get here in time. Her train of thought went blank. Rage had taken over. She turned to Khalil with a cold stare. Emotionless.
Well then,
She threatened.
there's nothing left to stop me from killing you, right?
Khalil's joyous smile instantly dropped. Alex punched him so hard that 2 teeth flew from his mouth. She judo flipped him to the ground and relentlessly pounded on his face, wanting to beat him to death. For the first time in years, she burned with anger. Angry for being outsmarted by a weasel. Angry for failing her team. Angry that she'll lose her sister again.
My God!
She gasped. She was suddenly reminded of Gina's horrific episode, momentarily losing control. For years, she chastised her about learning from her mistakes. Now she's on the verge of taking a life in the same fashion. People offer opinions about certain things, but their view changes once they're the ones going through it.
I'm sorry, Gina,
She said while slowly stepping away. Gazing at Khalil's beaten body, blinded by his tears and choking on his blood, she no longer desired to kill him. Unexpectedly, Saxon Davis appeared at the heliport. Get back! Get back! Go! He wrapped his arms around her and dove off the heliport. The entire roof imploded. Left alone inside the landing circle, Khalil held on to a guardrail to keep from falling into the giant crater left behind. Rumbling sounds grew louder. The heat grew hotter. He saw punishing flames approaching. With nothing else to do but hang like a worm on a hook, moments from being burnt to a crisp, he cursed out one name. Fire erupted through the roof like a volcano. Khalil instantly got scorched to dust. His cheap suit levitated within the flames while his inner demon catapulted into the twilight. After several burning minutes, the blazing geyser died down. Smoke and ash floated over the wrecked heliport like snow on Christmas Eve. While catching her breath, Alex looked at the massive damage left behind. Thank God Saxon arrived in time to rescue her.
mission accomplished!
She said. Yes, ma'am, Saxon replied. The hostages are safe. Getting to their feet, Alex realized Saxon was now as powerful as Gina. He could rip off the shackle. But before she could explain, Saxon collapsed, experiencing a seizure. What's happening to me? He stuttered, unable to move his arms. Alex then remembered that new Angelites burn energy faster. Since he spent such large amounts already without proper training, not to mention being older, it could take hours for him to recuperate. She only had minutes left. It was inevitable. She was going to die. But she decided it would just be her.
You're drained,
She said.
Your body is still getting used to the change. Just rest here and my agents will take you to the hospital.
Agents? Where are you going? We won the battle. The battle. We won. The battle is over. We're in this together.
Try not to talk. This nightmare will be over when you wake up. But I won't be. One thing needs to be done, but I must do this on my own.
No. What? What are you saying? Hesitantly, Alex revealed the rigged shackle clenched on her wrist. Saxon fought to pick himself up, but he could barely lift his finger. I can't get up. Give me a minute, and I'll...
Rest.
She planted a kiss on his forehead.
Thank you for taking care of my sister for so many years. You truly are an angel. Goodbye.
Don't do this! Alex turned away. You can't do this! The exit door opened, and Alex stepped off the roof. Evening breeze blew through his pepper hair, and the sorrowful Angelite drifted off to sleep. He promised Gina that he'd bring Alex home. He couldn't keep his word. Chapter 76. Level 4, an undisclosed area, is the location of a sub-operation center that lied beneath FBI headquarters, not yet operational. The entrance was protected. A 10-foot sliding door made for tungsten alloy and guarded by a palm vein biometric unit, the finest in high-end security. Inside, walls were made of concrete 30 meters thick, able to withstand a nuclear blast. Equipped with monitors and telephones, it served as an emergency communications outlet to coordinate with other law enforcement entities during an emergency for situations just like this. Only the top directors and some senior agents knew of its existence. She was amongst the chosen few. Alex stepped out of the elevator and began having second thoughts. Worry. She was about to die, violently, alone.
Why am I doing this?
She thought.
Who said their lives are more important than mine? Gina needs to rip this damn thing off.
She risked her life many times during the most daring missions that no other human being would ever muster enough courage to face. Never had she imagined her life ending in an underground bunker. There was no one to blame. Nobody to take her frustration on. All she can do is scream, pounding the wall as hard as she could. Scream until her throat gave out. Cry every tear her eyes could squeeze out. Settling down, breathing easily, she thought about her friends still inside the building. Helping Gina fulfill her destiny then came to mind. This was the job she signed up for.
My life? To save millions. Just another day in the office,
she thought. Alex punched in the access code and pressed the palm against the glass reader. Her identity was registered, and the massive door slid open. Footsteps echoed like conga drums as she walked inside the deserted station. The door needed to be locked again to contain the blast. Hold up. Her family won't see her again? Her family won't see her again. She had to say goodbye. Pulling out her cell phone, Alex turned on the camcorder and swiped over to selfie mode. 5 minutes left on the clock, vastly ticking downward. She had to make it fast.
Hi, Gina. I'm addressing you first because I know you'll be the first to find this message. First off, I haven't much time to talk, so I won't be coming home tonight.
She directed the camera to show the bomb on her wrist.
They got me, G. They planned to get one of us, and they got me. I've been able to escape the most dangerous and complicated booby traps the world has ever heard of. Can't get out of this. People are still in the building, not to mention thousands more in the city. I can't let them die.
Losing her composure, Alex wept, which got mixed in with her last words.
I'm so sorry for forcing you to forget about your past, telling you to drop everything and just come home. That wasn't for you. It was for me. I missed you, Gina, and I was miserable without you. I knew you were hurting inside, but I was engulfed in my own hurt. I was selfish, but now I understand why you left. And look at what you are now. You've always inspired me, and I was so lost without you.
She closed her eyes and fought her face from frowning. Not much time left.
Thank Dad for making me tough, teaching me how to never accept defeat. Thank Mom for her drive and independence that molded us to the women we've become. Tell her she's my favorite superhero. Oh, God, I wish I could see all of you one last time. But at least we'll share eternity in heaven. One day. I love you all so much, and I'll carry that love with me always. Goodbye.
Alex stopped recording and pressed the big red button against the wall. As the gigantic door closed, she tossed her phone out to the hallway. Looking for a place to hide, she crawled underneath the motherboards and took a seat. Resting her back against the steel, a sense of peace came over her. She felt vindicated to release her demons before death, something most people fail to do. She then closed her eyes and recited Psalm 23, 1-6 in a whisper.
The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for...
3 zeros flashed on the clock. Whiteness filled the room. Silence. Pleasant. She never felt her body succumb to the flaming dragon that devoured the entire level. Her ears never heard the horrific destruction contained in the massive walls. Heavy machinery got shredded to scrap metal. Alex accomplished her last goal. Her friends were safe. Besides dying peacefully, she also died a hero. One, two, and I do mean 1, 2. Shut up out there! Oh, shit. I knew that would happen. I knew once I got in the groove, this would happen. But of course it would happen. Excellent. I'm glad that's over with. Now, let's get back into it. Swoosh. Unbelievable. You fucking asshole. You. Off. Both ladies know that arrest would tear their family apart. Damn it. Can't they shut up for at least 2 hours? You know. Shh! Hey, I know how it feels to not have many people you can count on, said Natalie. This is gonna go on for 3 minutes straight, watch. You heard that? It stuttered. Don't stutter. I hate this. I just hate it. I hate this.
But you did your time. God forgives everyone.
No. You huff. Oh. Hello, neighbor. Just passing through. In there! Gina pointed. Gina pointed. Gina pointed. Gina pointed. That was corny. Aw, you should have seen your mother. You know, it's an insult. You know, I frequent these trains sometimes. Metro North, especially. Right? When I wait for them, well, I gotta take 15 minutes, 30 minutes. That's not even fair. And I'll shut up now. Behind it stood a giant bank vault. Your mother. Like, really, right? Like, honk. What you honking for anyway? A top-of-the-line model with a sophisticated security system, but none of that. Tell you what, bring your pretty little selves a little bit closer to me, and I'll show you a real man. You couldn't let me finish, could you? And these sirens hurt my ears. But I don't know what's worse, those or these. Gina found his attacks laughable. Oh, damn. The pain was so intense that Rusty couldn't move. Tripping over broken furniture. One push of the trigger on his remote. Natalie let the anger inside burn as she tightened her fist. Rocky fired multiple spin kicks. Swiping her stilettos at the Angelites' face. Natalie easily caught her leg and threw her to the other end of the vault. Want me to wait until you're done? Bad vibes. You ever had that feeling when you just want to pick something up and smash it to kingdom come? That type of Judgment Day type of shit, you know. No scuffs or cracks were left behind. Rocky struck the back of her head with her knee. See what I'm talking about, y'all? You see what I'm talking about? Unbelievable. Now, you know, this is about the time I might as well take a break. And you know what kills it? This is the fucking end of the chapter. Right here. Let me read this last little bit before you're going. I gotta hear this for a half an hour, y'all. This is why it takes me all night to record. This shit right here, listen. The honking their horns. Are you listening to? Where the hell, yo? Yo. What's the miracle I don't hear a train passing by now? You know, it comes every minute whenever I'm on the microphone trying to get things done. Listen to this. Yeah, y'all, I'm gonna have to pause for the cause. But then again, I should just leave this recording this shit. You will never believe me if I told you. Yeah, man, I was recording this shit, trying to get this shit done, but I couldn't get this shit done, man. Yo, all you hear is wah, and the huff, bro. Unbelievable. Now I see why people moved out of this apartment in droves. Makes sense to me. Pounding the floor in frustration, Natalie rushed to her feet with fists. You want to see pounding the floor in frustration? Motherfucker! Shut up! Damn it! Gina proceeded to manhandle the flock like a lawnmower. Gina proceeded to manhandle the flock like a lawnmower, cutting through the glass. Gina proceeded to manhandle the flock like a lawnmower, cutting through grass, cutting through grass, cutting through grass. For so long, you forgot how the real world works. You forgot how the real world works. Every officer will follow us to the ends of earth. Saxon's white shirt. Saxon's white shirt. Sounded like someone whistling the tune of the Frank Sinatra. There we go. She searched through the fiery wreckage and... Motherfucker you. She took a deep breath. See? That's why I fucked up. Of course, I gotta let that pass by. Rubbing his hands and hissing with excitement. I needed this like I need a fucking hole in my head. Unbelievable. I've never been more inspired to move out of the ghetto now, man. All hope will be lost. Damn motherfucking noise, man. Yo, I gotta move out of here, man. Like, I seriously got to move the huff out of this hood. I can't get no quiet to save my life, y'all. Bahala Panties, a magnetizing, manly musk, hinted with a splash of lightly sweet floral scents that are native to North America. Perfectly engineered to turn heads and tickle her olfactory nerves. No poles are needed when fishing at the pub, but don't forget the bait. Bahala Panties. A 30 milliliter bottle gives you about 600 modded sprays of this new technology to convenience the alpha man in you. Bahala Panties. Get your bottle today. Bahala Panties.